Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez back again. The other day I modified one of my Pro-1000 cartridges by showing you how to hand drill that fill hole if you choose to go that route. Now, there are other ways to refill your cartridges, which basically include absolutely no modification. You can use the original method of either vacuum filling or pressure filling your cartridges. And somebody asked, well, can I still do that? Of course you can. Whether you use the ink level sensor system or you choose not to, and you're buying chips, or you just disable ink monitoring and you are keeping track of your ink levels by weighing your cartridges, knowing that 32 grams indicates a weight that contains absolutely no ink. And so anything above that means you have ink. Full weight with a full factory load of 80 milliliters of ink will equate to 112 grams of total weight. So once you know what the empty weight is and the full weight is, you can keep tabs of your ink levels by simply periodically weighing your cartridges. Well, if you choose to use the ink level sensor system, you don't have to do that. The sensors themselves will tell you when one of the cartridges or several cartridges reach a 20% from empty condition. At that point, you can just fill whichever way you want. But let's talk about plugs, because somebody brought up the point that there are several types of plugs available, and they wonder whether they are all going to fit the 5/32 of an inch hole that we drilled. Now, the reason we chose that particular diameter is because on the Pro-100 cartridges, or CLI-42s or CLI-8s from earlier versions like the Canon Pro-1000 and 9000 Mark II, we were using that method. And the reason we did that was because if you choose to go by removing the original factory fill ball, whether you do it the way Rick Johnson does it or the way I do it, it really doesn't matter as long as you remove that ball without harming that internal molded. It's like a cylindrical cup with a spherical bottom. It has a little hole in it, about a 1/32 of an inch hole. And all you are doing is inserting the drill without affecting the existing internal diameter that is molded. Okay, molded. You basically are going to open up that seat that holds that ball. Otherwise, it would just fall into your printer, and you are simply enlarging it to 5/32 of an inch. And when you install a plug, what you are doing is simply going through that opening. There's hardly any sealing taking place, and you're literally pushing it through that little area that you drilled out to 5/32. The thickness is about a 32 of an inch thick. So you're compressing your plug, and as it emerges beyond that opening you drilled out, the seat that had the tiny hole, you enlarged it to 5/32 of an inch to allow this plug to compress a bit and then pass and re-expand and seal. So you do that by simply pushing it. And if I had a backlit light system, I could show you that the tip of the plug has emerged beyond the seat. Now, tabbed plugs, they are color coded, so they keep tabs for you, no pun intended, of what color a particular cartridge is. So, can I use them on my Pro-1000? Of course you can. That's what I have done here. The problem is because you are not drilling a hole on a pre-existing molded opening that's a little bit larger diameter than you needed. You are actually creating a full wall that is 5/32 of an inch. And some of these types of plugs are just very difficult to install. And so they may work depending where you get them from. They have different levels of density. In other words, how squishy are they? In this case, I have a white one here. I'm just going to go ahead and attempt to insert it. And really, it just doesn't want to go in. It just does not want to go in because the area that it has to compress itself through is a little bit too thick. In other words, the thickness of this cartridge wall is a lot thicker than the thickness of that ball seat. And so on the ball seat, sure, this passes through without any problem at all. I would not want you, the user, with a sensor attached to this, trying to pass this plug through after you refilled it, when you got the sensor attached and you got the cartridge sitting like this. It's just a little bit more difficult than it should be. Now, I'm not asking you either to enlarge the hole diameter, because you may enlarge it too much and this plug will be useless. It will simply not seal. Now, some other types of tabbed plugs seem to work a lot better. This is a very flexible one. And I don't know who makes these. Again, I just have a ton of these. Different types of plugs from different sources. This plastic, whatever this plastic is, or rubber or silicone, is a lot stiffer than this pink one or magenta one. Watch this. I can insert this easily. Boom, I'm done. It's in and it's sealing. Look at that. It's not falling out. So I have to pull pretty hard to get it out, but I can insert it as easy as pie. And as I am doing this operation here like that, I want something that will insert easily to make my life a lot easier. I don't want to make this process to be a problem for me, because I might put off refilling because it's such a pain in the neck. You see what I mean? So by reducing the level of anxiety, let's just call it, to do this process, it'll just make your life a lot easier. Now, I don't know how super accurate these plugs are either, whether they are all the same exact diameter or whether they differ when they are manufactured. You just don't know. These things are made overseas. They don't have the quality control that you would think you would be getting, okay? So this one, again, enters just fine. It's a blue tab, so basically cyan. This would be on a cyan cartridge. The ones that I installed on all of these printers here actually were able to be inserted perfectly well. Now, if you want to basically have a little bit more control, the so-called clear, let me walk up to you, clear plugs, let me see if I can put a bit of a, there you go. And they have a relatively thick top part. These seem to fit just right, and several people who deal in the third-party product business offer them. That went in perfectly easy. And again, to pull it out, you just pull it out. So the idea of a tab always has been to facilitate you the removal and insertion of the plug after you refill. But all you need is nails. We all have nails. Nail underneath the rim, grab it and pull it and reinsert it. It goes in extremely easy. Again, if you can find the tabbed ones, and again, companies like Precisioncolors, Rick Johnson, they have all of these plugs available. Precisioncolors is going to be creating a kit. Basically, it will include the drill bit for plastic, as well as the set of plugs that you will need. You'll be ready to go. Let's try the cyan one. Goes right in. Let's give that white one a chance again. Oh man, it's going in, but it's just a little bit harder to get in. And again, I would not want to impose that on you when you have a cartridge you just refilled, and possibly you may have almost overfilled it, which you shouldn't do, and then you try to insert without dislodging the sensor, and you know what I mean. It's just too many little variables, too many possibilities for you to make a mess. So just be aware that when you buy plugs from whoever you choose to buy them from, they will have different properties. And this hole that we prepared here is a lot different than the hole on a CLI cartridge, okay? You're not really enlarging the existing hole at all. You're simply enlarging the hole that exists in that ball seat to make that tip of the plug be able to pass through. So it's a different operation here. It's doing sealing, which is what we ultimately want. You want it to seal, but this is different than this. This is a straight wall hole. This is not. This is a compartment with a spherical bottom and a tiny hole that you are simply enlarging to allow the plug to pass through, compress, and then decompress and seal. All right. Again, you'll be able to get all of these plugs and all that stuff from any company that services the Pro-100, let's just say, and they have a refill system for it. They will probably, more than likely, also have plugs available. And I don't know how many sources of these plugs there are in China, or from China, but I pretty much guess that they're going to be extremely similar in nature. So again, whether you want the color-coded ones or just the plain white ones, you can order them from Precisioncolors.com or from Rick Johnson right at this moment. He will be very happy to send you whatever you need to have to achieve this beautiful refill system that we have developed here. All right, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And until the next time, of course, everybody, happy printing. Bye-bye.